All right, we're starting our right side row, and our first stitches always are knit one front and back, and I'm a little slower on my throwing hand, so
it's perfect for learning.
That's right. And I'm gonna, if I'm going too fast, let me know, so I'll slow down. So front and back, and then knit two, and your chart then starts. Okay, the very first stitch we're going to lock in, because we want to make sure that we don't have a gap running between the first color change and the second color here. All right, so the first is 2 stitches in my contrast color, so I'm going to knit. All right, so I need to lock this one, never mind that part. So with your main color, you're going to come up from the bottom around, okay? Then bring your stitch around as if to knit, and then we're going to release this to the back, okay? That's how you're going to lock your main color on a right side row always, okay? And I'll repeat that again the next time I come to that. And then we're just going to plain knit the next stitch. We're only going to lock every other stitch. So now I'm switching to a contrast color. It's over here, and so it's automatically going to lock in because it's the next color. So we're going to do 3 in this one. So we're going to do the first one as a regular knit, and this one we're going to lock our contrast color on the right side. So we're going to go in as if to knit, bring our yarn forward over the over the front here. So move it from the back to the front, and then we're going to knit that stitch and bring the yarn to the back. So once you get that in a practice, you're going to do it probably in one swoop. So we're just going to knit the next stitch. So we have 3 contrast.
Those are your main.
So this is your, sorry, yes, main, sorry. Now we're going to do 3 contrast. So the first one we're just going to knit. Second one we're going to lock the main, and this is the one that people have a problem with. So we're going to take the main color, bring it from the bottom around, bring your contrast up as if to knit, and then bring this one back out, and then finish the stitch. Okay, so that's number 2. We have 3 of those, so this one's just a regular knit. The next one we have a knit 1 in main color, so we don't have to lock that one. It's just a regular knit stitch. 2 of them in the contrast, so we're going to knit the first one because we're right here anyways with this, so we don't need to lock it into the next one because it's 1 stitch away, okay? But we're going to lock it into this one here. So same thing, take your main color, bring it around from the bottom up, bring your contrast as if to knit, and then bring that back. So it's a 4-step process. So from here forward, I'll count it as we go, so you can kind of get an account here. All right, so I got 1, 2, and then 2 main. So knit 1, we're gonna lock in our contrast on this next one. So you're gonna bring it over the top, bring your stitch as if to knit, and then that just drops off. See how you can kind of see it gets locked in over there? That's all it's doing. So 2 of that one. Now we're going to do 3 of this one. So we're going to knit the first one. I keep pushing it up, sorry. This is the hardest one here, is the main color. So bring it from the bottom around up. Bring it, your contrast up to knit. Bring it down. So let's count them. Let's do a count, okay? Let me let that go. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have completed your stitch. Okay, knit the next one. We have 3 stitches. All right, main color, we're going to knit 2. We're going to lock this one. So 1, bring your yarn over the top, bring this around as if to knit, and that drops off. Does that make sense on that one? So the contrast color is easier to lock than the main color. The main color actually has to loop around the entire needle, and then you bring the other color in, and then it has to unloop around. So you're catching this with your main color, doing it that way. And with the contrast color, it's already up there where it needs to be. See how your main color is always following? So your contrast color is already on top, always sitting on top already. And that's why it's such a small movement to just move it up to the top, around the top of the needle, and then lock and release, because it's already sitting up there on top. Okay. Alright, so next stitch is 2 greens. So we're going to knit the first one. We're going to lock the main color again. So bring it up from the bottom as if to knit, and then back down, pull it through, finish the stitch. Okay. Does anybody know how to do this? That knits English? English, because I knit continental, so I'm not sure if there's a difference or not in how you're holding your stitches.
No, that's how I do it.
Yeah,
Alright, so same thing, up from the bottom,
because you're using both hands.
knit, back around, finish the stitch.
You're
Alright.
wandering away from
I am, aren't I? Sorry. Alright, so now I'm just going to finish with my knit 5. So that's a right side row. Wrong side row changes just a little bit on your main color, locking your main color on the wrong side row. So these are just knits in an awkward continental knitter thrower style. Alright, so there's your row 43 fabric. Alright, so we're going to turn to the back. Alright, so when you're turning, make sure you're going to turn and not, see if I turn one way, I got one over, my main over here, and my contrast to the left. So main to the right, and they're not intertwined. If I turned it the other way, they'd be all twisted. So if I turn it this way, then I have a big twisted mess. So this is where you're going to make sure you're not twisted. You're never going to twist them as you're locking. It's when you're changing from one side to the other that you have to make sure that you are still free. If you do that, you're good. You'll never have to touch your balls of yarn. All right. So row 44 I'm on. Moving up. Okay. So, a lot of people want to drop their yarn. Let's keep it in practice to keep your hands on both yarns at all times, okay? So we're going to knit the first 5 stitches. Knit, knit, knit. Sorry my hands get in the way because I'm a continental knitter and not a thrower, so I have no idea how to do it any other way. Alright, and this is where I always end up usually having to go back because I never remember to bring my yarn back to the front to start purling. Alright, so we have purl 2 in the contrast color, and what we're going to do is we're going to lock this very first stitch. This is a little different than the front, because the front we're not locking the first stitch, we're locking the second stitch, and because this is our joining area right here, we want to make sure that we're pulling this yarn in towards, or we're going to have our gap on this one here. Okay, so this one here, we're going to lock the main color in, and this one's a little different because we're on the purl side, but we're going to bring our main color, let's see if I can get it a little better angle, maybe flatten it a little bit here. Alright, so we're bringing our main color down and up. Then we're going to bring our contrast color from the top down. Okay, can you see that? Top down. So they're going opposite directions at this point. And then we're going to bring our contrast color back out the way we came in and finish our stitch. So it's a little different than the purl side. Now we're going to purl, just a regular purl. We got one main color, and if you want to practice, you just going to lay your yarn over the top to lock this contrast color in, and then you're going to purl your stitch. Sorry, my pearls get in the way. My hands get in the way of my purl stitch. That's locking that in there. Okay, that's as easy as the contrast color gets. So we're going to purl one contrast, purl the first one main color. Sorry, maybe I need to move over. So we're just regular purl, and now we're going to lock the contrast color in. So you're just going to lay it over the top, anywhere over the top, and then purl that stitch, and it's locked in. Okay, to that color, two main colors. So we're going to knit or purl this one. Here's the purling. This is locking the main color in to the contrast. So we're going to go from the bottom up, and then the top down, and then release it back the way it came up, and then finish the stitch. Can you see that?
Let's see, we need one spotlight.
Alright, so where am I in my pattern here? 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. One main color. So no locking there. Alright, so purl that one. We got two contrast next. So we'll get to lock our. Alright, I'm going to splay my hands open. So we're going to purl the first one, and this is we're going to lock the main color in. So same thing. Up from the bottom, down from the top, and then release that out of there and finish the purl. Okay, did that show up clearly? And then we got two in the main color, so we're going to knit that one, or purl that one, sorry. This one we're going to lock the contrast color in, so we're just going to lay it over the top, and then we're going to purl that stitch, purl the stitch, and that locks that one in. Okay. Then we have three greens, so we got one. We're going to do the same thing. Up from the bottom, down from the top, release it, and follow through. Finish the stitch. So that's two. Purl the third one. We got one in the main color, so we don't have to lock that one. And then we got two in this color, so we knit one, purl one. Same thing, up from the bottom, down from the top, release. I keep shifting, sorry, and purl. Okay, so I got two, and then two gold, two main color, purl. We're going to lock in the second stitch. So we're going to lay it across. You can tuck it if you want to. That gives you a better feel. Sometimes it does or doesn't. And then purl that stitch and finish it out. Oh, see what happens if you do it wrong? You come through with both. Well, that's a good indication that we did it wrong. All right, lay it across the top. Finish that. Pull it through. And see if there's some slack in there, you can play with that a little bit, that's fine. Pull through. Alright, last two stitches, I'm going to lock in the last one. So I'm going to purl one, lock the main one, up from the top, and open it up, pull it through. This one I don't have to lock because it's not going this direction here. Well, if you do, you're going to see it from the front, so maybe I'll do it just so you can see it. Because you're going to purl that last one. Bring it. I'm wrong. Ignore me. Okay, this is where this is where it shows, because when you go back to pull it to the front to knit, Now it's going to pull to the front into your next stitch. So really you can't lock that last one going that direction. That's where it makes the difference. I know I played with it enough where I figured that part out. So now we're just going to, let me get my stitches back in order. The unedited version, right? Where I'm not keeping my hands where I need to go.
It shows us what we probably
We'll
will
went
do.
into.
All right, so we purl this very first one after the last color, and then we knit the last 4. This is locking these together, okay? And now I bring this to the back and knit the last 4. I wish I could hold my hands splayed out and knit, because it would really make a big difference. And that's probably why they video from behind, so they get the right angle. So they get the flat view and not the above view. So that's the end of
Thank you.
that one there. Do we need another